can all see it, give me a thumbs up. I'm always like worried that I have something messed up because technology is not my strong suit. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks for being here, y'all. Well, to start off, my name is Marisa OlGrady-Kessner. I've got a crazy last name. My husband and I decided to combine them. So we're always okay, is what we kind of go by. But I'm Marisa, and I focus on burnout, and I do primarily work with women. And why do I do this? Our burnout doesn't heal on its own. It just doesn't. It's not one of those things that magically goes away. And I focus on burnout, especially with women, because we get burnt out differently than men do. We interact with the world differently. And that's just a simple fact of the way that things are at this day and age. Maybe in like 100 years, the meters will kind of come towards the middle and we'll be interacting with the world a little bit more similarly. But as of right now, women are walking through the world differently than the way men are. We're thinking about things that are different. And we also put a lot more weight on things differently than the way that men do. So I am going to be speaking in somewhat binary terms and recognize that this is a spectrum. And my hope is to not exclude anybody. Men can also struggle with certain things. And some things that I might say that women struggle with, you might not assign to yourself. So go with it. Let me know if you have any questions and let's kind of dive into it. So the biggest things that I kind of go into with burnout is there are three main things. One, nature and wilderness are like my favorite, and burnout. So with nature and wilderness, they are one of the biggest things that have been a factor into my life. I am a rock climber. I am a hiker. I am an adventurer. I have gone on long canoe expeditions in the far north of Canada. I've been doing so many things. And I have noticed when I feel most whole and closest to who I want to be and who I see myself being, it's when I'm in relation to nature and when I'm in relation with my true, like deep, what I call my quiet voice. One of the biggest factors of why women get really burnt out is we have a lot of things coming at us. There's a lot of different things. And our quiet voice, the voice that knows the answer. I think every single one of you on here can recognize that you might be looking for an answer in somebody else or reading a book or researching it. But deep down, we all know what the answer to whatever the question is. And being in nature and being in wilderness helps me. And I've noticed that it helps all of my clients truly listen to that quiet voice. So then we can create change moving forward. So I'm going to stop briefly on how I support people because I have my own business, Grounding Source, obviously. And this is kind of how we support people through burnout and stress. Specifically, the big thing that we do that is so amazing is solitude. It's a 3-day event out here in Southern Utah, and it's a wilderness experience to heal your burnout at the root cause. And recognize that burnout and stress doesn't have to be the only thing that you're addressing when you're going here. I just focus on burnout and stress, and it could be that feeling of loss. Like you're just like not sure what you want. You're feeling unsatiated. You know that something needs to change. That is some of the biggest things that clients come to me with and that we go through on that 3-day event out here in Southern Utah. The other major way that I support clients is through an online course. And this is a 6-week online course that is supported, meaning that throughout the 6 weeks that you are doing the course, that you have the opportunity to have a one-on-one 45-minute one-on-one session with me throughout those 6 weeks. We dive into whatever you're learning about. We dive into what you are personally struggling with or whatever makes sense for that week. But it's like a burnout coaching session is a way to put it. Both of those are incredibly potent and powerful ways to truly get to the root cause of your burnout. This is a little bit more on the root cause course. I'll be diving a little bit more into this a little bit later on. But with the root cause course, we're learning and understanding where the stress is sitting in your body. You can get back to loving your relationships again. You can start feeling powerful in your meetings again. It's all of those little pieces are really huge for burnout and for getting through it specifically. For this session that we're doing today, I'm going to be going through a little bit of the first little section of the Burnout Root Cause course, because I feel like it's incredibly potent and powerful, and it's really important to share the knowledge. My biggest thing is I just want everybody to know and be empowered to step into themselves and know that you get to be in charge of your own stress, and it doesn't have to slowly kill us over time. So why are you here today? You're burnt out again. You've tried all the green smoothies you can handle and you just can't do it anymore, and it's not fixing your burnout. That's a big one as I'm drinking a smoothie. You don't want to quit your job and you want to find a balance. So how can you create real change? How does that actually happen? We get to the root cause. We learn the science behind your stress response. This is huge. I love the hippie witch stuff, super into it. I also love the science, the things that are concrete, the biology, what is happening in us. Both sides of that are essential for us to create change moving forward. And creating change is important, but it has to be sustainable change. That is one of the biggest things that we talk about in this root cause course. We create sustainable change. It's not about changing your entire life in 1 week. It's about little mini changes over time. And one of the other biggest things that we do in that root cause course is it's accountability. It's somebody there to hold you accountable. It's daily check-ins. It's whatever is going to be the best way to support you and working through wherever you are personally at with your burnout, with your stress, with your family, with your relationships, with your body, with yourself. All of those things are all huge factors. So let's dive into what is burnout? Probably the biggest reason you guys are all here. Burnout is emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, or a decreased sense of an accomplishment. What do those things mean? So these are the causes of burnout. Emotional exhaustion is when you are doing too much for too long. Decreased sense of accomplishment is that feeling as though nothing that you do matters. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into the second two and then circle back to emotional exhaustion. So hang in with me. But feeling as though nothing that you do matters, that is feeling, I think we can all probably see this, but this is really prevalent in teaching or in nursing or in general in things that like you're just continuously coming up against a wall. Maybe you're trying to speak at a board meeting every week and you keep saying the same thing and people keep turning you down or they just keep not listening to you. That is that decreased sense of accomplishment. And then depersonalization is the depletion of empathy, care. You can only see the intro slide. It may be just my screen, but you may have to change slides yet. I've done it on mine. I wonder if I need to, thank you. Let me kind of go through here. Hold on. Let's see, because technology is, oh, where are we at here? Weird. Okay. Usually when I change it on the one thing, okay, here we are, team. I've been switching through slides and it hasn't been switching through on the one that's getting shared with you. So I don't know what's going on. But is everything good now, team? Does everybody see where I'm at? I'm at decreased sense of accomplishment, emotional exhaustion, and depersonalization. Boom. Awesome. Technical difficulties as usual. Okay, and we're back. So depersonalization is the depletion of empathy, caring, and compassion. So what that happens often a lot more in men. You'll see them kind of detach from things and not really associate with them as much anymore. The number one way that women experience and feel the causes of burnout is emotional exhaustion, doing too much for too long. And a great example of this is a tunnel. If we think about emotional exhaustion, we have to understand an emotion. An emotion is a tunnel. And in order to fully get through an emotion, we have to get to the other side of that tunnel, get to that light. But what emotional exhaustion is it's getting stuck in the middle of that tunnel. So when you're stuck in the middle of that tunnel and you're just stuck in that emotion, it's draining to us, it's exhausting. And examples of what this can look like is maybe you are in a meeting at work and there's a jerk and he says something mean and we don't like it, but we can't really say anything back to them right there in that moment. Maybe it's not appropriate, maybe it's unsafe, maybe you have a million other things to worry about and you can't focus on that right now. Regardless, you haven't had the opportunity to fully express that emotion and feel it and move through it, so we get stuck in it. And when we get stuck in it, we don't magically like walk out like throughout the day, like when we're slowly forgetting about it. Our brains might have moved through it, but our bodies still feel that. So now we're going to go into what stress and a stressor is. Can everybody see all the slides now? I think it's switching on both of them. Usually when I switch on the other one, it goes on this one, but yeah. Awesome. Sweet. So stress versus a stressor. So stress is the neurological, physiological response that is happening in our bodies. I cannot stress enough how important it is to understand the difference here. A stressor is the actual trigger. The stressor could be you doing the dishes and your kid is pulling on your leg and your husband's asking you where like his t-shirt is that he can't find for the millionth time, or where his phone is, or something like that. You know, like those are all the stressors, and the stress is the actual thing that is happening in your body. So with that, I want you guys to identify what your stressors are. What is contributing to your burnout? What are the things that are stressing you out? What comes to mind immediately? Write it in the chat and let's kind of talk about it. See where everybody's at. What are the things that contribute to your burnout, contribute to your stress? And also I would recognize that these don't have to be big things. They can be little things. It can be like my dog barking at another dog on the street every day at a certain time of day. It could be meal planning. It could be whatever. Taking on several projects at once. Awesome. Not valuing sleep enough, saying yes when I mean no. Homework with kids. Ooh, yes, saying yes when I mean no. That one hits home for I think a lot of us. Homework with kids. Anybody else? What else contributes to your burnout? Trying to work, helping my depressed husband, having 3 small children. Oof, yes, that is also a lot of work and a lot of things that we're taking on. So throughout this, everybody, if you have a pen and paper next to you, write what's stressing you out and even be as specific as you can. Like, Kelsey, what are the several projects that you're taking on at once? Like right now in your head, like if you could list out like, what are the 5 things that you're doing that is contributing to your stress? Everybody kind of, if you have the opportunity to write this down on paper, do it right now, because we're going to revisit this and we're going to talk about ways that we can heal this, move through this in a healthier way, especially as opposed to like just forgetting about it or pushing it aside. Okay, so this is an amazing quote that I love deeply, and it resonates a lot with me. It is, wellness is the freedom to move fluidly through the cycles of being human. Wellness is thus not a state of being, it is an action. I'm gonna say it again. Wellness is the freedom to move fluidly through the cycles of being human. Wellness is thus not a state of being, it is an action. And something that resonates so deeply with me about is wellness isn't the absence of stress. We're not trying to get rid of stress from our lives. We're human beings. We're supposed to have stress in our lives. Stress can be a really powerful and potent part of our lives. It can energize us. It can push us to do things we never could do before. There are so many positives to stress. And when we're getting to burnout, when that is bad stress, when it is de-stress, that's when it is a negative thing. That's when we need to fix it and change it. And that's part of the cycle of being human. It's part of taking action and trying something different and doing something different. So the stress cycle, we're going to go into the neurological, physiological thing that is happening. This slide has a lot on it. Take a mental note of it, and I will send you guys all a replay of this, all of the things. So don't worry too much about it. Just kind of sit, feel it, let it go through. So this is what happens when we feel a state of stress. So maybe somebody at work says something that is really annoying to you, or you're driving somebody and one of your friends says your friend's like parent or something, somebody in your life says something that stresses you out and you feel that stress. I think we can all think of our own example of what it feels like when you have that onset of stress. All of a sudden your 3 projects get really intense. This is what is happening in your body. So when we feel stress, we are not quite as evolved as we would like to think we are. The stress cycle and the stress response is created for us when we are more primitive, because when you're running away from a lion, your body needs to interact with the world differently. You're feeling stressed, you need to be able to move quickly and fast and make here and now decisions. So what happens when we experience stress is epinephrine acts instantly to push more blood into your muscles. Endorphins help you ignore discomfort. Your heart beats faster and your blood is pumping harder. Your blood pressure is increasing basically. And that is why high blood pressure and heart disease is so closely related to stress. You are breathing more quickly, your muscles are tensing, your sensitivity to pain diminishes, and your attention is on alert. You're focusing on short-term, here and now thinking, which can be an extremely positive thing in those stressful situations and is not always relevant or helpful to us. Our senses are heightened, and in order to maximize our body's efficiency in this state, our other organ systems that are not important are deprioritized, meaning digestive system slows, our immune function shifts, our growth and tissue repair decreases, as well as reproductive functioning. So what that can look like is that's why we gain weight when we're really stressed out. That's why we tend to get really sick, or things that maybe we're not sick, and then suddenly when the stressor is done, we get really sick, or we don't heal as quickly. All of this is due to stress. Something that's really important to note here is our bodies cannot tell the difference between us being chased by a lion or somebody being a jerk at work. Those two things are exactly the same in the body. So if you're stressed out, even if you're not being chased by a lion, your body is still going through all of these things. So what is the answer? The answer is we need to complete our stress cycle. And how do we do that? This is one of the main things I want you guys to take away from this. You guys all feel stressed. You can see how stress sits in your body, all of the different things that can happen. If we do not take charge of our stress, all of these things on here are literally going to slowly kill us. Like, that is just the truth. And I don't want that to be like super morbid or scary or whatever, but it's just reality. Is like, or maybe you're just going to spend more on medical bills later on because your digestive system's going to be really messed up and your stomach's going to hurt, or something else is going to go on if we do not address our stress. That is why it's so important for us as women, especially, to take charge of this. So completing the stress cycle. This is how we tell our body it is done. Because when you, like primitively, if we are being chased by a lion, we run and we get away and we're moving our bodies, and then our tribe comes and helps save us, and everything is happy and joyful. And if we kill the lion, our tribe kills the lion, everything is safe, blah, 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 and everybody rejoices and everybody relaxes and gets rid of it. That is what we need to do with everything in our stress cycle. Not exactly like maybe we don't have like a big party every time, but this is how we cue our body that we are done with the stress cycle. One of the number one best ways to help our brains and bodies heal is to get into nature. This quite literally helps our brain replenish itself. Every single day, we are doing a million things, especially as women. We are the queens of trying to do several projects at once, trying to also make sure that the house is perfect and make sure our kid is eating decently healthy food and that our dog isn't running away. We do it all. So one of the best ways, that is using a ton of energy. That is using a ton of what we call directed attention. When we're using that much directed attention, our brain needs a break. Plain and simple. And a break is not looking at your phone. It's not scrolling through Instagram. It's not watching TV. That's not helpful for our brains. Getting into nature is one of the best ways. This is scientifically proven. I have the article. If you're super interested and you want to read a peer-reviewed article with an abstract and everything, feel free to reach out to me. I will send it to you, because this blew my mind. Because nature does something that's different than all of the other things in our world. Everything else in our world really is aggressive when taking our attention. It's like asking, boom, boom, please give me this attention. It's super attention seeking. Nature is really modest in the way that it asks for our attention, which is why it's so healing. Every single one of you here can probably speak to the fact that a sunset or a sunrise is extremely calming. Raise your hand, say yes in the chat if you can relate to sunsets or looking at the ocean or looking out on the mountains, if that is calming to you. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. That is because nature modestly takes the attention. Nature is not asking your brain to do everything at once. It's allowing it to slow down and heal. And that modest attention seeking is what helps our brains, because our brains have not evolved as quickly as our technology. So we have to help it get back to nature. The other ways to complete your stress cycle. The number one most effective and efficient way to complete your stress cycle is to move your body for 20 to 30 to 60 minutes. If you can only do 10 minutes, do it for 10 minutes. One of the biggest things that I like to drive home is it doesn't have to be perfect. As women, we tend to love to do things perfectly, or as close as we can get to perfectly. And it's not about that. It's about trying. Moving our bodies, this can look like walking, dancing, running, swimming, anything. But the point is, something that I noticed in myself and a lot of my friends is we think about exercise as something that we need to do the right way. If we're gonna go for a run, we should go for a 30-minute run. If we're gonna go for a swim, we should go do multiple laps, or we should go to an exercise class, or we should do a full yoga class, whatever it is. And we do it not for our brains, we're doing it for our fitness. We're doing it to look a certain way, or to feel a certain way, or to train for a certain thing. This is why I live in Utah, yes. I want to talk about, instead of doing it, we're not moving our bodies for our fitness. This is a huge reframe. We are moving our bodies to complete our stress cycle. We do not need to fit in a size 4 pair of jeans, or a size 8, or a size 10. You can wear whatever the fuck size pair of jeans that you want. It is not important for your health for you to fit into a size 4 pair of jeans. It is more detrimental for you as a woman to be obsessed with our weight and be stressed out about it than it is to actually be overweight. So put that out there. It is about moving our bodies. It is about completing our stress cycle, because when we move our bodies, we're telling it to completely go through a cycle. We're letting our body shake it off. You'll notice this in dogs, or if you've ever almost hit a deer. Anybody here ever almost hit a deer? I know I have almost. I lived in northern Minnesota for a really long time. You'll notice when the deer gets to the other side of the road that it like shakes its whole body. It's like, whoo! That is the deer completing its stress cycle. It's being like, oh, that scary thing is done, and I'm going to move on with my life. That's what we are doing by moving our bodies. So when I know that I had a stressful day, I will force myself. It's not fun, and I'm not super excited about it. And I know that I would rather running for an entire hour probably would feel better, but that's not what I can handle right now. I can go on a 10-minute run. I can run 5 minutes out, 5 minutes back. And you know what? That's better than nothing. And that is helping you complete your stress cycle. So there are other ways that are still effective, but not quite as effective ways to complete your stress cycle. Number one is breathing exercises. Raise your hand or say in the chat if you've done breathing exercises before, or if you've ever heard of them. Anybody? Yes, a couple of you. Anybody else? Breathing exercises? Yes, yes, awesome. So what breathing exercises do is it's cueing to our nervous system that we can kind of slow back down. This can help. This is really effective and important when you can't go and dance for 30 minutes. You know, we don't always have that opportunity. Sometimes we're like in between calls, and the last call really pissed us off, and we're not super psyched, or it really stressed you out because it's harder than you thought, whatever. And we don't have time to go for a run. But what we can do is we can take a few deep breaths. A really effective way to do a deep breath is doing like the full count. It's called square breathing. It's a really basic way to do a breathing exercise. And I love it because it's super simple for me to remember. It's breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4 seconds at the top, and then breathe out for 4 seconds. And this helps really center our nervous system and bring us back to the ground. Another way to complete your stress cycle is positive social interaction. And it doesn't have to be like a big party or anything like that. This can be as simple as having a positive interaction with the checkout clerk. It can be as simple as seeing your friend at the gym and just saying hi real quickly. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but it does help our bodies know that it's safe again. It's cueing to our brains like, oh, the world is safe. I don't have to be afraid of everything. Not everybody sucks. And it's just doing that quick little, and it helps us complete that stress cycle. Laughter is a huge one. This is why comedy is so healing. And this can't be like the fake laughter at, like the party when somebody says something like kind of funny and you're like, ha ha ha, that was kind of funny, but not really that funny. This has to be like the big belly laugh. This is like you and your partner like giggling about something and like being silly. This can be watching comedy on TV and just laughing hysterically. But the key is that it has to be those big belly laughs. What you're doing is you're telling your body you're getting through an entire cycle of an emotion. And what's important here to remember is that it doesn't have to be in relation to the thing that stressed you out. So maybe your kid stressed you out. They're in bed, whatever. You can watch Ali Wong. If you guys have ever seen Ali Wong, she's hilarious. You can watch Ali Wong on Netflix and laugh, and that's going to help you complete your stress cycle. Okay? Excuse me. Affection is a wonderful way to complete your stress cycle. And this is not just a kiss or a hug for a quick second. There's a little bit of specifics in here that they talk about. A lot of this information comes from Amelia and Emily Nagoski's book, Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. It's a phenomenal book. Definitely recommend it. I'll put it in the notes when I send you guys a follow-up email. But affection, as far as kissing, a kiss for 6 seconds, because the importance about the 6-second kiss is that 6 seconds is too long to be kissing somebody that you don't feel safe with. 6 seconds is long enough to be kissing somebody and to like come into that moment and to feel that connection. The same thing with a hug, but the hug has to be 20 to 30 seconds. And you both have to be holding your own body weight. It can't be the other person holding you. It has to be you both standing and holding your own weight and hugging each other. Because that is also a long enough time that you can't be hugging somebody for that long and be that comfortable with them and not feel safe, you know, if that makes sense. A big cry. I have done this as a way to complete my stress cycle 100 times, if not more. And after you do that big, we tend to hold in our, I don't know if you guys have this tendency, a lot of my friends and I, we sometimes don't cry when we need to, but we need to cry. And when you let yourself have that cry and you let yourself like sob and like ugly cry, you guys all know what I'm talking about, that ugly cry. Give yourself a big ugly cry and afterwards you feel better. Can you like raise your hand, do a thumbs up, let me know if that is something that you have done. And like afterwards you're like, oh, I can drink a glass of water and like move on with my life. The world isn't going to end. Yep. Especially in parents. I noticed that parents, it's like once the kids are in bed or something, or even in front of your kids, it's totally appropriate to cry in front of your kids. Like just let yourself cry and get through it and then move on. And then the last one is creative expression. Why music is so healing, why creating art is so healing. And the reason behind why creative expression helps us complete a stress cycle is because, again, it allows us to fully move through the cycle of an emotion. That's the beautiful thing about what we create with art. With music, with songs, it's typically describing a feeling, an emotion, something in that ability to express is so healing. I think this is probably one of the main ways that my husband works through his stress cycle. He moves his body quite a bit. But the other one is creative expression. He'll just like in the middle of like, he's a photographer and a videographer as one of his jobs, and he'll be editing for hours. And then I'll just pick up his guitar and just start playing guitar for like half an hour. And I'm just, all right, that's how he kind of moves through it a lot. And everybody's can look different. It doesn't have to be perfect. That is like the driving thing. It doesn't have to be done perfectly. All right, let's see what's next. So the goal is to integrate and sustain new habits to find the root cause to your burnout and to heal it. This is one of the biggest things that I drive home in this root cause course, the 6-week course, is how do we integrate and sustain new habits? How do we create something new? And while we're doing that, we're getting to the root cause of our burnout. We're learning, we're getting into that emotional stuff, and we're going to heal it. Because the stressor is the thing that we like notice. The stress itself is the thing that we're creating boundaries for. So what I ask of you today, if you choose to do the burnout root cause course, if you choose to come up for a solitude event, what I ask of you to do with the other people in your life is to be real with yourself, to be real with others, to try to do something different and to practice. Because healing our burnout isn't just about creating a boundary, because we're going to create a boundary with our partner about him doing the laundry and you not doing the laundry. And then he's probably not going to remember to do it one time. And he was probably doing it really well for a long time. And then all of a sudden he stopped doing it as well. And we're going to probably go back on our boundary. And what's important is that we don't get on ourselves for breaking our own boundaries, that we recognize that we're practicing and we're trying to do better. We have to ask for help. We have to reach out for support. We're not supposed to go through burnout or stress or life alone. And the people in your life might not be the right people to hear about your stress or burnout. And if they're not, go to somebody else. Come to me, let me know. You can reach out to me on Instagram or whatever. Reach out to me via email, whatever is like your favorite way. I'm going to skip that slide because I don't feel like going into that right now, but we'll go into like a little bit more about the root cause course, because the idea is behind practicing. That's what getting to the root cause is, because you guys all deserve more than a Band-Aid. I love so many different types of coaching, and so many different types of people are out there teaching different things. There's a lot of tactics for getting behind your burnout. And we can put a lot of Band-Aids on things. But if we don't get down into like why these things are happening, why they are presenting in the first place, then they're going to come back. That is why green smoothies and yoga every day don't work for healing our burnout usually, because we try. And an analogy that they use in this book is when you paint the dirtiest wall in a room, it only makes the rest of the walls look dirtier. By that, we mean if you're only fixing one part of your burnout, you're trying to just put a Band-Aid on it, it only maximizes everything else in that room. It only maximizes the fact that like, I didn't meditate today, or I did blow up at my kid. I said something I wish I hadn't, or I wanted to be mean to my husband and I had a mean thought, or whatever the thing is that happens. It's about the holistic, the whole person is important. The whole things, all of our emotions. And we get into that in the root cause course. That is what I love about it. I'm not interested in like the like surfacey things. We kind of get into it. So you get to be as open as you want to be. I will be there to be a mirror. I do not have the answers and I don't pretend to, but I am there to support you. I am there to be the person to show you, to ask you a different question, to see what else we can do. And all of the exercises throughout the root cause course are so wonderfully curated to get down to this. It's not just like, here, create all these different like ways that you people please. It's like, what are all of the underlying things to our people pleasing? What are all the underlying things to our burnout? And something that I find that I love about the root cause course that I don't speak of a lot to is this root cause course isn't just the emotional side. I also pair it with like a wilderness skills course, because like I said at the beginning, nature in the wilderness is at my core. That is what I love deeper than anything else. And I want to teach you guys a hard skill. I'm going to teach you something that you can see. And when we relate it to like things like cooking or like planning or whatever, we relate our emotional things to that. It's really helpful in us creating change and also like kind of helping us chill out about our emotions. Raise your hand or say yes in the chat if you've like catastrophized an emotion before. All of a sudden you're like, the world is ending, everything is awful, and I'm never going to be able to fix it. Like if you've thought that, if you felt that, yes, I see, yes. It's just so much there. And when we realize like oh, I'm really just cooking some pasta and I dropped the pasta in the fire, and that's okay. Or whatever it is. When we kind of like chill out and kind of get down to like, oh, everything's going to be fine. I think it really helps us get into our stress and burnout more. And that online root cause course is 100% online. You do have the opportunity to have that one-on-one coaching with me if you desire to. If you don't desire to, you also don't have to. There's worksheets, there's individualized meditations, there's all sorts of things on there. So definitely go check it out. But I have 2 tasks for every single one of you from today's workshop, okay? The first one is to start trying to complete your stress cycle as often as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do it every single day, but you should try as much as you can. When you feel stressed, try to do something to complete your stress cycle. Every single one of you here live is going to get I have like a burnout guide that kind of goes through all of these things. So you don't have to like have them memorized. You don't have, if you like wrote them down on a piece of paper and like you can barely read your handwriting, I'm guilty. I do that all the time. I'm like, God, what did I write? I have no idea. I'm going to be sending you a worksheet that tells you all of it and you don't have to stress out. Don't stress out about completing your stress cycle. So start trying. Go for a walk at the end of the day. Like, even if you don't want to, put down your phone, detox from your phone, and go for a walk. Bring your kid with you. I don't care what you need to do. Maybe your kid's stressing you out, you know? There is no shame in doing whatever you got to do to help your kid work with you on completing your stress cycle. You know, if you need to like have them have a toy, or you need to be like, hey, partner, you take the kid. I'm going to go do this. Well, you have to do that for you. Your health and your body, everything literally depends on it. And the second task for each of you is to choose a new daily habit that you're going to start. This can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths the first thing you do in the morning. It can be as simple as streamlining what you eat for breakfast, because every day you stress out about what are you going to, like, should I have eggs and toast? Should I have a peanut butter toast? Should I have a smoothie? Should I like wait to eat? You know, we get all weird about things like that. I know I do. All my friends do. All my clients do. I know we all do. Choose one new daily habit. Maybe wake up on your first alarm, or only snooze once, or drink a full glass of water before you drink your cup of coffee, or drink half a glass. And if you don't do it perfectly, that is okay. Okay. This is one of the main things that we do throughout the Burnout Root Cause course. One of my favorite ways to support people is you're choosing a new daily habit to try to create change that is sustainable, because it's the little things. Life isn't about the big things. It's about the little habits that we do every day. It's about doing dishes with your partner. It's about putting your kids to sleep or bringing your dog for walks. That's what life is. It's not the big trips and summiting all the mountains. That's my favorite. I really do love climbing mountains, and the most amount of time that I spend with my husband is we're doing the dishes and vacuuming and having conversations on the couch, things like that. So everybody who is here, take a minute to think about your new daily habit and write it in the chat. If you can't think about it right now, can't think of one right now. But everybody write something that inspires you. You can take any of the ideas that I said. You need to drink more water, whatever it is. So think of a new daily habit that would support you. And it doesn't have to be huge. One song mini dance party at the end of the day. Yes, that's a really fun one. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Lizzo and Beyonce for those ones. Whatever your heart sings to, though. Other people, I have like a little table over here, and I almost just kicked it over and it has my smoothie on it. Would have been unfortunate. Other human beings of the universe, I see you still in here. Does anybody else want to? It's okay also if you don't want to tell me your new daily habit, but please, I would love to hear your new daily habit. Something that I've been working on and trying to do is not being on my phone for the first 45 minutes to an hour of waking up. I do this thing where I get on my phone almost right away, and it drives me nuts. So there's a couple of things here. each and every single one of you has the opportunity for a 30 to 45 minute grounding call with me. Every single one of you, totally free, just to get more information, to get down into more of your personal stress, see what's going on with you. All of this information is going to be sent into you in a follow-up call. Also, every single one of you gets $50 off of the online course and or $500 off of the Solitude 3-day event. The next one and last one of the season is October 28th, 29th, and 30th. We keep those events small. We keep them intimate. We are diving into the root cause of your burnout. And if you are interested in going on an event to truly get into it, sign up for a grounding call and see if that makes sense for you. See if that feels good. I would love to hear more and more from each and every one of you. And I will be sending out an email to do that. Rest more. Ooh, that's a great one. That's, yes. Even getting yourself to just go to bed at a certain time, or when you wake up, do something, but rest more throughout the day. That is huge. Please follow us on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever your favorite way of social media is. On LinkedIn, obviously. I'm not super keen, like I share the most on Instagram. So follow me there, reach out to me there, or send me an email, all of these things. You guys will all be getting an email here soon. Do you guys have any other questions, any comments, anything that you want more clarification on? I would love to share with you. Excuse me. Well, amazing. Everybody here, thank you so much for showing up, for participating, for being here live, and reach out to me. And I'll hang out here for the next couple minutes to see if any questions come up. But thank you so much for showing up, for being here live, for getting to know the good information, and start completing your stress cycle. You can do this. Oh, you're welcome so much. It was so lovely. Let me know if any of you guys have questions. Type them in the chat, and I can address them. Awesome, awesome. Well, amazing, amazing. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy. We'll talk soon. Amazing. All right. Well, feel free to send me an email if you are unsure or you have something else coming up. But have a beautiful rest of your day. Cheers.